Kintsugi, known as the golden joinery, is the Japanese art of putting pottery pieces back together with gold. The legend of the Japanese art form, Kintsugi, states that a 15th century Japanese shogun dropped his favorite vase, shattering it into pieces. He then ordered artisans to construct it with gold or silver lacquer, making it even more beautiful. It is also a metaphor for embracing your flaws and imperfections. Let's see what this Kintsugi smoked like. I'll meet you in the dungeon.
What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? It's your boy Q Morgan in the building. This is Blowing the Budget. Here we highlight those budget-friendly cigars, as well as introduce our new smoker friends to this cigar lifestyle. If it's your first time here, make sure you hit the like button or leave a comment. Automatically enter yourself into the monthly swag bag drawing. Each month, I pick out a couple of sticks, print up a shirt or two, and send that directly to your house. Today, we're gonna give you a double dose of Japanese culture. We're gonna blow this Kintsugi and pair it with Suntory Japanese whiskey. So of course, let's get into it. I want to welcome all my smoker friends to Blowing the Budget. Here we highlight those budget-friendly cigars, as well as those premium sticks that appears on everybody's wish list. Today we're gonna blow something from the Alec and Bradley house. This is the Kintsugi. It's a little hard on the draw, a little stiff, but I am getting a nice return on the draw. Yes, of course, and we doing the V-cut. Right off the bat, I'm picking up a light cedar, a little bit of dried fruit. Not sure what fruit that is, but not sure what this is all about, but I am enjoying the smooth introduction. Like I said, picking up a little bit of cedar right now. There's also a natural sweetness that I'm getting around the outside of my tongue. Not a sugary sweet, but a natural sweetness of some sort. This is a medium body classification. Came in a Robusto, $5.50, and it cost me about $8, so it's definitely budget friendly. I smoked this once before and I thoroughly enjoyed it, so of course I wanted to go ahead and do a review for you so that we can both understand the mature complexity of this composition. Not sure if we're gonna be adding this to the box, but this is definitely a good novelty to have in your repertoire if you're looking to expand your flavor profile. This is a Honduran Habano wrapper with Honduras and Nicaraguan fillers and binders. Makes for a good smoke. And for those that matter, this did receive a 95 rating from Stogie Press. Again, like I said, this is my second time enjoying this cigar. You're gonna get notes of cedar. You may pick up some cinnamon. As I said before, right off the bat, I was able to kind of pick up the dried fruit or natural sweetness, and I think that may be attributed to the dried fruit flavor. Again, I can't distinguish what fruit that is, but there is a sweet fruitiness to this particular cigar. You may also pick up some vanilla and spice on your Retrohale. So sit back, sit tight, grab you a drink, get you a stick. Now, of course, I said we were going to give you a double dose of Japanese culture. So, of course, we're going to let that Kintsugi sit a little while, let those flavors marry. We're going to pour up some Suntory. This is Japanese whiskey. This is the first Japanese whiskey that I encountered. And unlike bourbons, Gentleman Jack, and things of that nature, this is a blend of many different Japanese flavors or whiskeys from the Suntory distillery. This is distributed, I guess, in Chicago, or by a distributor in Chicago, which gets it to the American market. Now, Suntory Distilleries is not new to the game. They've been manufacturing quality Japanese blends since 1923. Suntory, or Toki, which translates to time. If you want to see that bottle. So next time you're in the store, this is what you look for. Suntory Toki. Toki, translated again, as I said before, in Japanese means time. Now, time is relative in the Japanese whiskey distillery. American whiskeys kind of age over time, whereas the Suntory technique doesn't offer the luxury of time aging because it's so quick to market. You don't get the oak barrel taste. You don't get the dark color. That's why it's so light. But when you taste it, it's a very light burn, no heat on your chest. It's a natural sweetness, kind of like a lemon zest, but not tart, if that makes sense. And of course, the Suntory definitely brings out the spice element on your Retrohale. I'm also now picking up the vanilla. This is a very decent smoke. Now, of course, is it worth the 95 rating that Stogie Press gave it? I'm not quite 100% sure, but I would agree that this is 90 worthy. Now, everybody's familiar with Alec Bradley, most popular for the Filthy Hooligan or the Black Market. Of course, there are other Alec Bradley cigars in the repertoire, which was established in 1996 by Alan Rubin. Rubin launched his brand and named it after his two children, Alec and Bradley Rubin. Now, those two children have grown up and joined their father in blending quality cigars under the Alec and Bradley moniker. Not to be confused with Alec Bradley, who was the father, who was the originator of the cigar brand. Alec and Bradley, or A and B, gave us the Gatekeeper. And they've also given us the Kintsugi. They've created a multifaceted medium body cigar paying homage to ancient Japanese culture or art form of joining together ceramics with gold lacquer, making them even more beautiful. So if you look at the label, you can see that there is that idea generated in the band. So if you had porcelain and it was broken and damaged, you would use gold lacquer to create this effect, thus making your damaged porcelain even prettier. This is a nicely constructed cigar. Of course, there is light veining, but not so much that you would necessarily mark down. You may see one or two in there. At the same time, we have a nice consistent burn on the ash. This is the first video where I have a straight one. So definitely shout outs to Alec and Bradley for constructing a very fine cigar. Like I said, it's budget friendly at about $8 retail. You can find these at your local brick and mortar. I'm still looking for the Gatekeeper. I had that before. I smoked them all. Didn't get a chance to do a review on it because I was being greedy, but this Kintsugi is almost as quality as the Gatekeeper. I thoroughly enjoyed the Gatekeeper. If you run into that particular cigar, I highly recommend you pick one of those up. And if you actually see the Kintsugi next to it, try this one as well. As we approach nearing the half, we're not quite there yet, still getting through the first third, but the strength is getting a little stronger, but it's not medium to full strong. This would be, it really gives me the mindset or gives me the flavor palette of a strong medium. Not necessarily a full flavor or a full body, but just stronger than medium, kind of in between medium and full. Now, a few months ago, I reported Alec Bradley in the news because one of their farms experienced a fire, which may have jeopardized production. However, I don't think that Alec Bradley suffered too much because he's done a lot in the last couple of months. Cigar Dojo has teamed up with Alec Bradley Cigars. They're going to showcase the second collaborative project, which is the Dojo Chico. This is a blend of Nicaraguan tobaccos that make up the core recipe. And these exclusive sticks are guaranteed to go fast with a limited production of about 840 bundles. So definitely this is a short run or a limited production. These budget friendly sticks will go for about $6.50 each or $40 for the bundle. And each bundle will contain about 6 cigars. So you can go to paylesscigarsandpipes.com to cop yours before they're gone. Shout out to my big homie Ron at Black Gold Cigars for the t-shirt. Thank you, brother. Hope you enjoying them sticks. Now, for all my filthy hooligan fans, Alec Bradley will be bringing back the Black Market Filthy Hooligan Barber Pole and the Black Market Filthy Hooligan Shamrock with limited edition, limited production, I should say. That should be happening about the spring of 2022. So if you're looking for a unique Candela and Habano blend, you want to get your hands on those limited productions. Alec Bradley is limiting the Hooligan series to about 2,000. That's 24 boxes or 48,000 cigars and 1,500 10-count boxes or 15,000 cigars of the Filthy Hooligan Shamrock. So of course, if you're, again, a appreciator of the Black Market cigars, those Filthy Hooligans will be coming back this spring. As far as this Kintsugi, mixing it with the Suntory or the Toki, it is definitely I want to say it's a smooth smoke. I'm not really getting a lot of punch. However, I am picking up a lot of flavor. The cedar is nice on the Retrohale. There is now a spice component that I get sitting on the back of my tongue. That sweetness has almost disappeared. We got like a dried fruit sweet at the beginning, and as we get into half, it's getting a little stronger, but I'm also picking up some different flavors. Of course, that cedar note is definitely evident. I'm also picking up now some vanilla. And again, that sweet might have been the Suntory, but it's not as strong as it was at the beginning. As I said before, this came in a 550 Robusto, medium strength. This is Honduran Habano wrapper with Honduran and Nicaraguan tobaccos to make up the binder and the filler. So of course, looking at your flavor wheel, and if you understand the tobaccos in those regions, you can kind of identify those spices. I'm not necessarily too inclined to say cinnamon, but there is a drying component that I get on my tongue after I exhale. Of course, we talk about Retrohale to all my new beginning smokers. Retrohale, you puff the stick, we don't inhale. You're gonna hold some smoke in your mouth until you get a sensation on your tongue and your cheeks. Once you experience a tingle of some sort, you're gonna release that smoke from your mouth, holding the last portion so that can be released through your nose. Through your nose is where you will be able to identify distinctive flavors in whatever you chose to smoke. Here's a demonstration. Yeah. And that's where you're going to get the cedar. You're going to pick up a little, that drying is definitely happening on the Retrohale. After all the smoke is extracted from your mouth, you're getting the dryness, and that dryness could be cinnamon. There is some spice in it, but I don't necessarily want to say cinnamon. I don't know what other spice would dry your mouth out other than cinnamon or pepper of some sort. but this isn't a punchy pepper. I'm not necessarily getting a pepper note from this, but there is a spice component that makes up this composition. Now, can we Retrohale this? I don't know. Let's see. Yeah. Too much Retrohale will give you that tinge in the back of your head. Oh my goodness. And it's almost eye-watering. But again, Retrohale, I'm not sure if that's a thing. You're doing a retrohale, but you're not extracting any smoke from your mouth. It's all coming through your nose. Now, certain cigars are light or mild enough to where this can be done successfully. And then other cigars may be too strong and give you a tinge in your nostrils or eye-watering if you do too much. Now, as we get into half, look at that ash. It's nice and firm. It's still a little delicate, to be honest with you. The first one kind of fell off, but now that we're approaching half, I'm getting a little more length on my ash. And you can see it's still a consistent burn with that one little piece of runaway. But we're gonna let this kind of mellow out, chill out a little bit, see what nuances and flavors actually develop as it's sitting. But right now, through the half, this is a consistent cigar. There is not a lot of transitioning in regards to flavors. You got cedar. I'm getting what I distinguish that drying of my mouth that may be attributed to cinnamon or spice. Now, when they say spice, many times I have to refer to the flavor wheel because there are so many spices. You need to distinguish cinnamon, nutmeg, cardamom. These are not seasonings that you would use for like chicken and steak. This is like gourmet baking seasonings or spices, if that makes sense. Now, I'm no professional by any means. However, I do enjoy the opportunity to share with my smoker friends those sticks that I enjoy, as well as those that I don't. Now, as far as the Kintsugi, as we get into half, I definitely will be smoking these again. If I can run across a nice deal on a 5-pack, this will be something to hold on to and maybe allow to settle into your humidor for a few months. This one particular Kintsugi has been, I want to say it's been sitting since about June. Now that we're into September, it is well within ripening. But of course, the longer you let it sit, the more ripe it may become. But at the same time, if you let it sit too long, you may lose some of the greatness that make up whatever you're smoking or whatever you have in your box. It's recommended by many of my OG smoker friends. When you get new sticks, you should let them cure in your humidor for at least a minimum of 2 weeks. That gives the cigar time to get temperature control to your environment that you've established, because each cigar aficionado, all of you are different. You all have different flavor palettes. You all have different ways of storing your cigars. Some people like to use those Tupperware doors, or I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. They use a Tupperware container with Bovita packs. Many of us like to use the cedar line humidor that you would get at your local brick and mortar. And many of us have went as far as to buy the all-new electric, thermal electric humidor, which kind of refrigerates your stick. So of course, based on whatever method you're using to store your sticks, I still recommend that you let them sit so that they can get acclimated to whatever environment that you're storing your cigars in. 2 weeks will be the absolute minimum before you can actually begin to enjoy the maturity and complexity of whatever you're smoking. Now, of course, there are proponents that smoke them if you got them. Smoke them as soon as you buy them. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, you have a better experience, in my opinion, if you allow your cigars to settle and rest. Get acclimated to your temperature, get acclimated to the humidity content and level that your box is accustomed to, and then, of course, you can begin to smoke them if you got them. And even through the last third, I'm getting a nice return on the draw. The cigar is starting to open up a little more. I'm getting fuller plumes of smoke as we get into this last third. It's not very much changing in the cigar. If you look at the description on the website, Kintsugi, or Alec and Bradley, describes this cigar as a medium strength. They also say that you should be able to pick up notes of butter, cedar, cinnamon, cocoa, dried fruit, and nut. Not sure what I'm getting on the nutty side, but there is some spice, like a nutmeg or cinnamon or some type of baking spice that I'm kind of picking up. And due to the sweetness of the Suntory Toki, I'm able to actually pick up the hint of vanilla as we get into this last third. It's not vanilla extract vanilla, but think of like I use it all the time, Breyer's ice cream, that vanilla bean flavor. You're kind of getting a small hint of that coming through on this last third. Now this Alec and Bradley is a boutique style cigar, in my opinion. Alec Bradley, the company, is a big box brand. There are several different Alec Bradley cigars that make up whatever favorite Alec Bradley you like. But at the same time, Alec and Bradley, the two children, have changed their blending styles to become more of a boutique blend. Now, we're transitioning, in my opinion, from boutique cigars to artisan cigars. You're getting a lot of distinctive flavors, a lot of unique blends coming to market right now, and that would be attributed to artisan blenders or master blenders who have been creating cigars for various big box brands. Those guys are now branching off and experimenting with flavors that are distinctive or appealing to them personally. One of my favorite master blenders, Steve Saka, is definitely creating some unique blends of his own. Alec and Bradley are not far behind. This Kintsugi is definitely a mild smoke. It's not harsh. It's not punchy. It's, mellow might be an understatement. This is a very, very relaxing smoke. You can definitely go through this in about, I want to say 40 minutes of Robusto. It's a good stick. I would definitely be smoking this again. I would definitely be looking for putting this into the box. And that's just my personal opinion. There may be some objections to the Alec and Bradley line. I fell in love with the Gatekeeper because the label was sick and the cigar was even better than the label. And of course, Alec and Bradley have not sold themselves short because the label for the Kintsugi is sick. And the flavor profile and components that make up the cigar are equally appealing as the label. I got my fascination with Japanese culture from my mom. She likes all things Japanese for some reason. She walks around in kimonos. She has Japanese vases throughout the house. And of course, growing up, I've grown an affinity for the culture. So when I saw they made Japanese whiskey, I went bananas. This is the first introduction that I got to Japanese whiskey, and I am thoroughly enjoying the Suntory whiskey brand. Now, of course, the Suntory distillery does not only make Toki. You may be familiar with Hibiki, Haku vodka, Roku gin, and of course, the more expensive Yamazaki, which is a aged whiskey, but it's not aged in the sense of oak barrels the way we do things in America. They have their own technique. The Japanese culture has a culture of isolation. They don't necessarily let too many outsiders into the culture. So if you have an opportunity to experience Japanese culture outside of your favorite Japanese restaurant, or as we're approaching the last third, getting into the home stretch. The spice is kind of ramping up on your retro, but again, it's not eye-tearing or eye-watering. You're not going to get very heavy tinge on your nasal passages with the retro, but you will get a sensation of some sort. It's not like peppery. Again, even into the last third, we still have an even ash or an even burn throughout. We haven't had to do any at all, not a touch up at all. However, the ash is delicate, so be prepared to have your outfit dusted if you're not careful, or even your ash may just fall off unexpectedly. Whatever you're doing in this cigar lifestyle, I hope that you are keeping it smoky and doing things that you enjoy. Let's not take this cigar shit too serious, but definitely dive into the lifestyle. There are so many great flavors to taste and interesting people to have conversation with. This has been your boy Q Morgan in the building. And we're gonna wrap up this one. Another episode down, y'all. Oh, I finally got to 100 subscribers. Thank all 100 of you. 100 subscribers. I've been doing this for a little while, and I'm amazed at the support that I received. I had a phase where I kind of wanted to stop. A few people have chimed in, hit me in my DMs, and hey man, I like your videos, I get information from you. So I attributed all of the information that I'm able to share with my new smoker friends, I attributed that to my more advanced smoker friends. I sit back and I really listen to those seasoned veterans who've been smoking cigars longer than I have. So it helps me understand my own flavor palette, those things that I like versus those things that I don't. I'm also able to identify different flavors and nuances in different cigars based on the type of tobacco that is used. So I definitely want to thank all my OG smoker friends for giving me some notes to take or just having a conversation that I can sit in on. This has been your boy, Q Morgan in the building again. I hope you've enjoyed this edition of Blowing the Budget. And we're going to be back in your ass again next week with a new stick. So stay tuned. Peace out.